On the evening of September 21st, 2019, law enforcement authorities swiftly reacted to a distressing domestic violence call that had emanated from an apartment in Austin, Texas. Deputy Pereira, a dedicated officer serving with the Williamson County Sheriff's Office, promptly arrived at the location. The door he knocked on belonged to the residence of Skylar Leo, a young 20-year-old woman who cohabited with her boyfriend Eric Ramirez. The call, urgently placed by a concerned neighbor, compelled the officers to investigate the situation without delay. Ms. Leo informed Deputy Pereira that Mr. Ramirez had left the apartment and didn't know his whereabouts. She also expressed her unwillingness to press charges of domestic assault.
Look up for me. What's on your neck? What happened?
Nothing happened.
So I have witnesses saying something happened. So are you trying to protect him?
No, I just really don't like dealing with it. I really don't. I really don't.
Okay. So...
I don't need to talk to you. I really don't.
Do you have your ID on you or anything?
No, I don't.
So what's your last name?
Domestic violence laws vary across states, including how abuse is defined, the charges against abusers, and mandatory reporting requirements. In Texas, officers have discretion in making arrests for domestic violence incidents. Despite Ms. Leo's reluctance to press charges, law enforcement and prosecutors can pursue criminal actions based on their investigation and evidence. Texas law emphasizes the protection of domestic violence victims, regardless of their cooperation.
So, were y'all... I'm trying to figure out why your friends called the cops.
What friend?
Or your witnesses, whoever was over here that called us. So what?
We got into an argument.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. It was nothing physical?
Nothing physical.
Where are the marks on your neck from?
We got into my necklace right here.
No, this right here. What is that from?
Does it really matter?
Yes. To make sure you're okay.
I'm fine, ma'am.
So?
I'm fine. Like, literally, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I get a rash talking to y'all. I do not want to talk to you, and especially Williamson County. Y'all have a really bad reputation. I have bad encounters with y'all. I do not want to.
I'm not gonna hurt you.
I know you aren't.
Okay, so we need your cooperation.
I know, and I'm
Do you want to press charges?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
Thus, the police had a duty to safeguard Ms. Leo's well-being during their response. Deputy Lorenzo Hernandez, previously featured on a reality show, encountered a situation where he tried to enter Ms. Leo's apartment. Although Ms. Leo protested, the Fourth Amendment allows officers to enter a citizen's home without a warrant under certain circumstances, such as protecting individuals from immediate harm, like in cases of domestic violence. Courts have often given officers broad discretion in responding to domestic violence calls. Based on these precedents, it's likely that a court would find Deputy Hernandez's entry into Ms. Leo's apartment justifiable to ensure her safety despite her objection. However, we must also address the legality of use of force in this situation. Deputy Hernandez contends that Ms. Leo's non-compliance justified the altercation and the use of force by the deputies. However, a court would likely disagree, as it must assess the reasonableness of the force used. In the 1989 Supreme Court case of Graham v. Cano, courts considered the severity of the crime, the threat posed to officers or others, and whether the suspect is actively resisting arrest. The 2018 case of Darden v. City of Fort Worth further emphasized that excessive force occurs when an arrestee is not actively resisting. Ms. Leo, a victim not resisting arrest, faced unwarranted aggression. A court would undoubtedly find Deputy Hernandez's actions excessive. Sheriff Robert Shodey initiated an internal investigation after an altercation, leading to Deputy Hernandez's one-day suspension. Surprisingly, Hernandez was later promoted to detective, but in January 2021, he resigned when former Sheriff Shawnee lost to current Sheriff Mike Gleason. Subsequently, Hernandez faced charges of official oppression and assault for his excessive use of force against Ms. Leo.
When she in my house, I'm like, well, we gotta find the guy that allegedly did this. So she didn't give direction, travel, description, anything. She's like, he left, I don't know where he went.
Third level Dickerson.
So we need to see if this guy's inside your apartment.
Who else is in here?
She filed a lawsuit against him in the Williamson County Sheriff's Office on September 20th, 2021. Both the criminal charges against Hernandez and Ms. Leo's civil suit remain pending. His actions were unacceptable, rapidly escalating a peaceful situation, showing unprofessionalism and using excessive force.
Went to my apartment. Yo, with what? I'm literally gonna press charges on y'all.
We have a possible felony.
Possible felony?
Yes.
For what? For who? He's not here, I'm telling you.
But you don't know where he went?
I don't know where he went.
Okay.
Like, what?
You go see him. Can I understand where you're in handcuffs right now?
So what happened? We were trying to talk, right? That's all we were trying to do?
Okay, so I'm gonna take
Is there
these
a light
handcuffs
in here?
off you.
How do you turn the light
Are we
on?
gonna be cool if we take these handcuffs off?
The light's not on. It's not on.
All right, ma'am. So I wasn't here with information related to you. When we come to stuff like this, we're going to check for safety reasons. Okay, we're gonna make sure he's not here and you're not hiding him. We understand you don't want to cooperate. We can't force you to do that. We get that. We understand that. But you don't do what you just did. Not when we show up for something like this. We don't get your cooperation. That is what happens.
Yes.
Okay.
Deputies' authority to enter Miss Leal's apartment for the domestic disturbance is still debated. Here's our next story of a cop getting fired. On June 26, 2020, a 73-year-old woman named Karen Garner, who suffered from dementia and sensory aphasia, which impaired her ability to communicate and understand, attempted to leave a Walmart in Loveland, California, carrying unpaid items worth $13.88. Store employees stopped her for leaving, and Miss Gardner tried to offer her a credit card to pay for the items, but they refused and took the items back. Eventually, she left the store. Subsequently, a Walmart employee reported the incident to the Loveland Police Department, and Officer Austin Hopp responded to the call. He located Miss Gardner as she was walking home on the side of the road and pulled up behind her with his lights on. When she didn't stop, he parked his vehicle and approached her. After failing to effectively communicate with Miss Garner, Officer Hopp grabs her and throws her to the ground in an attempt to restrain her.
Ma'am, police, stop. You want to stop? Lights on, siren, stop. You just left Walmart. Do you need to be arrested right now? No. Okay, let's stop.
Miss Garner, visibly confused, repeatedly tells Officer Hopp that she's going home, as the two engage in a brief scuffle. Eventually, Officer Hopp's able to place Miss Garner into handcuffs and lead her back to his patrol car. Shortly after Officer Hopp gained control of Miss Garner, Daria Jalali arrived on the scene. The two officers, Hopp and Jalali, once again forced Miss Garner to the ground. Officer Jalali assisted Officer Hopp in restraining Miss Gardner's feet and placing her in the patrol vehicle. A concerned citizen confronted Officer Hopp about his conduct. Officer Hopp defended himself, claiming he had the authority to use force, but the citizen believed it violated department policy, Colorado law, and the U.S. Constitution.
I'm not going.
Why are you fighting with me? And why are you trying to slip the cuffs off?
I'm going home.
Stop.
I'm going home.
No, you're not. Are you finished? Are you finished? We don't play this game. You understand me? If you try to kick me, oh, this is gonna be bad.
I'm going home.
Stop.
I'm going
Hey.
home. I'm going home.
The Colorado Revised Statutes under Section 18.1.707 require officers to use nonviolent means when possible before resorting to physical force. However, this provision was only added through Senate Bill 20.217, effective from September 1, 2020. At the time of Miss Garner's arrest, the statute allowed reasonable physical force for effecting an arrest. Despite her non-threatening demeanor, the officer's actions came under scrutiny. In an attempt to ascertain Miss Garner's identity, the officers questioned her about her date of birth. However, she remained unresponsive and refused to engage with them, showing apparent signs of mental instability.
Karen, I got your credit card, okay? It'll go with you. What's your date of birth, Karen? I have it. You will have it with you. I will not lose it, I promise. What's your date of birth, Karen? Who's my sergeant?
Yeah.
Okay, well, first, I can tell you that. Sergeant Metzler, he's at the police department. You can go talk to him if you have an issue.
Yeah, give me your card so I can put a report.
Okay.
I see you there, how you throw the little kid.
Little kid?
Well, I don't know
He's not
if
a little kid. And this
he
is
was,
what happened.
He was just walking, and I see you how
So
you
just
grab him.
stole from Walmart and refused to stop, refused to listen to lawful orders, and to fight me. This is what happens when you fight the police. I have to use force to safely detain her. That's what this is. This isn't just some random act of aggression.
Unfortunately, the officer seemed oblivious to the possibility of her suffering from dementia, despite her exhibiting symptoms of disorientation, memory loss, and disordered speech. The Loveland Police Department's policy on interactions with individuals suspected of mental illness clearly outlined the need for officers to be aware of such behaviors and to establish a compassionate connection while ensuring everyone's safety. Officer Hopp, as seen in the body camera footage, either failed to recognize these signs or deliberately disregarded the policy during his interactions with Miss Garner. After being brought to the police station, Miss Garner was led inside by officers and left handcuffed to a bench where she remained unattended for several hours without any medical assistance. Officer Hopp's use of force resulted in severe injuries for Miss Garner, including a fractured and dislocated shoulder, a bloody nose, facial scrapes, and contusions on her knees. The incident also led to her being diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, causing ongoing physical pain in her shoulder, arm, and wrist.
Okay, let me see your feet.
Credit card.
We'll get it.
Oh, my credit card.
Karen, I got your credit card, okay? It'll go with you. What's your date of birth, Karen? I have it. You will have it with you. I will not lose it, I promise. What's your date of birth, Karen?
Security footage at the station revealed officers Hopp and Jalali revealing body camera footage with community service officer Tyler Blackett, who was seen celebrating the harm caused to Miss Garner. In his narrative report on the use of force, Officer Hopp recounted that upon contacting the suspect, she attempted to flee, leading to her being placed on the ground to ensure safe detainment. The suspect resisted arrest persistently, necessitating the application of multiple controlling holds. Consequently, the suspect sustained minor lacerations to her wrists from the handcuffs.
Hey.
Let's get her down the station.
Okay, we don't need to wait for Capella.
No, we can see what I mean, we know she, what's it say?
She stole some stuff, and they caught her before she left and got it back, and she ran out. So we have the...
And then you contacted her for that.
And then she resisted.
Obstructed and resisted, so...
We're good either way.
So we're good either way,
Cool.
she's going.
Alright.
If they decide not to prosecute, I don't care.
Cool.
Cool.
Okay, we'll head down there.
And a small laceration to her chin. Despite clear contradictions between Officer Hopp's account and the body camera footage, as well as Miss Garner's actual physical condition, higher-ranking officers, including Sergeant Metzler, approved the use of force as necessary, reasonable, and within policy. However, the situation took a significant turn when Miss Garner filed a federal lawsuit against the city of Loveland, Officers Hopp and Jalali, and Sergeant Metzler. The case gained national attention when Miss Garner's attorney, Sarah Shilka, publicly released the body camera footage on April 14, 2021. In response to public outrage, Officer Hopp was placed on administrative leave, while Officer Jalali and Sergeant Metzler were reassigned to administrative duties pending an internal investigation. Subsequently, all three officers, along with Officer Blackett, chose to resign from their positions. Now, here's our next story of a cop violating the rules. On January 12, 2023, Officer Jack Lowry of the Bloomington Police Department initiated a traffic stop on Ricky Pouncil, a local resident, as he was driving through the city of Bloomington, Minnesota, on his way back from the gym. The ensuing interaction between them was recorded on Officer Lowry's body camera. Officer Lowry informed Mr. Council that he had been pulled over for driving on the center lane and subsequently documented in his police report that the stop was due to a lane violation and driving at 53 miles an hour in a 60 mile per hour zone as per Section 169.15 of the Minnesota statutes. The statute states that driving at a slow speed impedes normal traffic and it's prohibited unless necessary for safety or compliance with the law. However, considering the vehicle's weight and the highway grade, Officer Lowry's belief of Mr. Council's violation may not be reasonable, as he was driving slightly below the speed limit. Additionally, Officer Lowry claimed Mr. Council was drifting between lanes, which under Section 169.8 requires driving within a single lane unless it can be done safely.
Valid license, everything? Okay. Anytime, man. We're back.
License status valid.
Rental car, pretty distinct reaction to my presence, and then going like 55 in middle lane, and wasn't really cooperative with me at all. Didn't want to tell me where he was going. There's some luggage in the back seat too.
Just what?
Like a couple bags in the trunk. Okay. He didn't seem super cooperative, so I'm just gonna pull him out. I'm gonna try to talk him out here. Ricky, right?
The U.S. Supreme Court has upheld that pretextual stops, motivated by investigating potential criminal activity, are constitutionally valid, regardless of the officer's true motivations. Thus, if the court accepts Officer Lowry's statement about the lane violation, the traffic stop is likely to be deemed constitutionally valid. According to the police report, Officer Lowry conducted a search of the vehicle, finding only vitamin C capsules. Subsequently, Mr. Pouncil was released after being detained for approximately 35 minutes. The incident came to light when Mr. Pouncil's nephew reached out to relay the details. Despite Mr. Pouncil and his family's efforts to report the incident to the city of Bloomington, the Bloomington Police Department and the city attorney, no wrongdoing was found on Officer Lowry's part and no corrective actions were taken. The encounter left Mr. Pouncil feeling marginalized and alienated from local authorities. While Officer Lowry avoided physical confrontation, he inappropriately extended the traffic stop without reasonable suspicion and used manipulative tactics to obtain consent for the search. Mr. Pouncil receives a B+ for maintaining composure and filing complaints, but his ability to challenge Officer Lowry's actions was diminished by consenting to the search.
Do you have any weapons in the car or anything like that? Like a gun or anything like that?
I don't even have a gun.
Okay.
I'm 19 years old. I ain't gonna. If this is gonna cause problems, then the truck's over there.
This is a 19-year-old man caught impersonating a deputy and conducting illegal traffic stops. On January 1st, 2023, the Choctaw Police Department got a complaint of a strange man driving an unmarked car and claiming to be a sheriff. According to the report, the individual stopped at least 2 vehicles in the Choctaw area while dressed in full police uniform, including a duty belt and a ballistic vest. Deputies from the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office were called to investigate the situation and identify the culprit after a series of complaints. Soon later, 2 police approached the car as part of their investigation.
The truck's over there. I'm just gonna take out the vest, man. I'm from Tennessee, so.
Why are you wearing the vest?
Well, like I said, I drove from all the way from Tennessee, but I'm not gonna have people call me when I don't even live in this damn state.
Okay.
It's gonna piss me off.
You're a deputy sheriff?
Well, I mean, I work at the sheriff's office.
Okay.
So, I mean, what?
Were you a corrections officer for the
Yes.
sheriff's office? Okay. Why do you wear a vest outside of the facility? Is this an agency vehicle or is this your personal vehicle?
This is my Kia.
Body camera evidence indicated that the cops who first saw Jones were rightly perplexed and distrustful, as off-duty law enforcement officials wearing uniforms in public is unusual. The guidelines for employee personnel appearance, as stated on the official government website of Oklahoma City, do not specifically prohibit cops from wearing uniforms when not on duty. However, it can be suggested based on the standards for appropriate badge display, which indicate that badges should not be prominently shown while the employee is off-duty. It seems obvious that wearing a uniform as an off-duty police officer would be discouraged as well. Jones was questioned for verification of his claim to be a sheriff, and he falsely stated that his department did not give any documents to validate his position.
I understand that. I don't understand what you're talking
And you got alcohol in the vehicle.
Well, it's not mine.
Well, that's beside the point.
It's my girlfriend. And I don't drink, so.
Well, it doesn't matter. You realize transporting open container, if any of that's opened or partially missing, that it doesn't matter whose it is. If you're in the vehicle with it, you can be arrested for transporting open container.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's not. I literally. It's not mine. She bought it. She lives up there in Luther.
Have you ever heard the phrase of when guys get hemmed up for drugs in their pockets and they say these pants aren't mine? You realize how stupid that is? Okay. So let's stop saying it, all right? Okay.
The cop was watching what was going on when he saw an open bottle of alcohol in Mr. Jones's car. When this was brought to Mr. Jones's attention, he said it wasn't his. But the officer said it didn't matter who owned the alcohol because Mr. Jones would be charged with an open container violation if it was found in his car. After this conversation, the officer was worried about the sheriff's patch on Mr. Jones's bulletproof vest. He stressed that Mr. Jones was neither a sheriff nor had the power to make arrests. Also, the officer said that their drinking habits didn't matter, and he emphasized that carrying an open bottle, no matter who owned it, could get them arrested if it was found in their car.
So did you get out of your car or something here in the parking lot?
Okay, I got out of the car. There was a truck that he looked at me. That's all I did. I never said anything like law enforcement was or nothing. He looked at me and he was laughing. So I just like go to his car and I was like, "Did you eat me or something like that?" That's it. And I just like walked away.
Okay.
The second cop on the scene asked Mr. Jones about the person who was said to be in a truck that Mr. Jones had stopped a few minutes earlier. This person would later be very important to the way things turned out. Mr. Jones said that the person had been looking at him, so he went up to the person and asked what was going on. It's important to note that Mr. Jones's version of what happened was very different from what the department heard, which was that Mr. Jones had pulled people over with bright lights.
See if he'll give us a contact number for a supervisor at work or something. I'm going to shut this other door.
Yeah, contact. I wouldn't worry about the jail thing right now.
I really don't want to. It's weird. like I said, it's not in my possession, right?
It is in
I
your
mean,
possession. It's in your car.
By you owning the vehicle, it being in your vehicle, if sitting beside you, that it's considered possession. I understand that.
And I've got pulled up before.
I'm going to try, we're trying to work with you here.
I know.
Mr. Jones gave the cop permission to search his car and said that he didn't have any problems with it. As a protection for the safety of the cops involved, the officer asked Mr. Jones to get out of his car and take off his ballistic vest. After this request, Mr. Jones was put in the back of a police car while the two officers who were already there looked into what was going on.
Second. All right, tell me exactly what you just said.
Because he was dressed like a cop.
Yeah.
He had a sheriff thing, but it had sheriff written on the side of it.
Right.
And I live on 62 off of Adam Road. He was sitting in a driveway
250.
right beside 62 Highway. And I pulled up and I was staring at him because he was in there kind of cockeyed.
As the officers continued their investigation, the subject who had initially made the 911 call pulled over in close proximity to them. They engaged in a conversation with the officers, and the entire interaction was recorded on their body cameras. It is worth highlighting that the sequence of events recounted by Mr. Jones differed significantly from the story provided by the subject.
Yeah, I already know I'm going to.
All right. Turn around and face the other way. Put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest for impersonating law enforcement, all right? And then you also have a charge for transporting an open container.
My girlfriend could pick up my phone.
Not at this time.
You know how long I'm going to be in jail because I'm okay.
Based on what the subject had said up to this point, it was clear that Mr. Jones had been pretending to be a police officer and had committed a major crime. The police now had a lot of proof that these claims were true. So the officers did what they needed to do and arrested Mr. Jones for the crime of pretending to be a law enforcement officer. They also told Mr. Jones that he would be charged for having an open container on him. Now, let's move on to the next story.
Good, how y'all doing?
Yeah, she was the driver. He was in the pickup truck. That's all I'm saying.
Not hurt or anything?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Just need your license, registration, insurance?
That's it.
155 Berkeley, 28 West Virginia. Ocean 9 V Victor 311. Ocean 9 V Victor 311. Split on a silver and color Lexus. Oh. That's silver or tan?
Silver.
Okay. I was going crazy for a minute.
Yeah.
I'm good if y'all.
You're good, we're good, man.
Yep.
Alright. Yeah, except for one.
Hey, thanks too. How y'all relate to each other?
We're just friends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm actually driving that truck right there.
On January 6, 2023, Deputy William Henderson from the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office was sent to a traffic accident. A woman named Carrie Harmon was driving when she hit a low stone wall and used a concrete block to knock over 3 fence posts, a mailbox, and a bush. As seen on video from Deputy Henderson's body camera, the Berkeley Fire Department was the first to arrive at the scene. Even though Miss Harmon didn't seem hurt, she slurred her words and moved slowly. This wasn't a big deal at the time, but it continued throughout the meeting, as we'll see.
Straight is the resident you're speaking of. However, we did not locate her name attached to any of the tags.
Still, Deputy Henderson asked Miss Harmon if she had a favorite tow truck company. She said that her father, Nathan Harmon, would take care of the problem. Nathan Harmon is a Berkeley County sheriff, which suggests that Miss Harmon may be depending on her father's power and influence to stay out of trouble. We'll talk about this a little more later. Then Deputy Henderson went to his police car to check Miss Harmon's pass through dispatch. After being inside for a few minutes, he came out and gave her a sheet asking for a written statement about the traffic accident. One thing that stands out about this situation is how unconcerned Deputy Henderson seems to be about the traffic accident. He did not directly ask about the details of what happened, nor did he look into the situation fully. Even though Miss Harmon showed signs that she might have been drunk, no one thought anything of it.
Is your neighbor's home, you think? Or?
I think she's home. She's a nurse.
Okay.
I went over there after I got off the phone with 911.
Okay.
Knocking on the door and ringing her doorbell, but I haven't gotten an answer. She's a nurse, I think, in Winchester.
Okay.
So I don't know if she's...
Yeah, I just got to leave her some information, that's all. So I see the vehicle, but so.
Yeah, that's the one she's over inside.
Okay. Thank you.
At this point, Deputy Henderson went to the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office and got a digital camera. Officers often use these cameras to take pictures of accident scenes to go along with the written accounts from patients or witnesses. Deputy Henderson did a good job with many of his duties, but he forgot to find out if Miss Harmon was at fault for the accident or if she was drunk, which were both important parts of the investigation. Continuing with the incident, Deputy Henderson walked up to Miss Harmon's car as she was finishing her written statement. The two talked briefly about what happened. During this talk, Miss Harmon made a claim that a deer might have been involved. She said she either veered into the wall while trying to miss the deer or hit the deer on the right side of her car.
It should have hit me. I'm telling you. For it to look like that, it's gotta hit me. I saw that motherfucker on the right hand side and I'm like, oh no. It's either swerve or you hit it.
Oh, man. You don't like stuff because you got open shoes on. Can you sign that down the bottom for me?
What's that?
I just need you to sign it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think you just put a date on there.
I got you.
When Miss Harmon used her broken windshield to back up her story, Deputy Henderson quickly shined his flashlight on it, but he didn't see any signs that a deer had hit the car. This made people wonder how a deer could have gotten away from the accident without getting hurt or leaving any blood. Deputy Henderson seemed to have the same doubts when he stopped for a moment to look at the window, but he decided not to ask Miss Harmon any more questions about her questionable claim. Instead, he looked around the car and made some notes. At this point, Sheriff Harmon showed up, and things started to get strange and hard to believe. Sheriff Harmon tells Deputy Henderson that there is something he needs to look at inside Miss Harmon's car. Without saying anything, Deputy Henderson gives Sheriff Harmon his lantern and lets him come up to the car and get in. South Carolina law says that what Sheriff Harmon did could be considered messing with evidence, which is a very bad thing to do. To make matters worse, Sheriff Harmon asked Deputy Henderson if his daughter was inebriated, to which Deputy Henderson reacted with laughter, indicating that it did not appear so. Subsequently, Miss Harmon's vehicle was towed away and the scene was cleared. The investigation concluded that Miss Harmon had failed to exercise caution while negotiating a turn, and she received a warning for her careless driving. However, the situation took a concerning turn when portions of a Snapchat video shared on Facebook showed Miss Harmon expressing gratitude for her father's presence at the scene, implying that Sheriff Harmon may have intervened in the investigation to protect his daughter from the consequences of driving under the influence. In response to these suspicions, Sheriff Harmon issued a statement a few days later, claiming that he responded to the scene purely to ensure his daughter's well-being and denying any interference or direction given to the investigating officer. The official report released by Deputy Henderson did not indicate any suspicions of drug or alcohol use, and Miss Harmon's driver condition was deemed normal without any effort to confirm her fitness to drive. Notably, the report did not support Miss Harmon's claims of a deer strike, contradicting her written statement that she was following a car when she was hit by a deer on her right passenger side. And now comes our third story. In this story, a group of children in Lorain, Ohio were subjected to police harassment on the excuse of jaywalking. However, further investigations proved that the event was staged by the police officers involved. On February 15, 2023, a 16-year-old kid and his cousin, and a friend, crossed West 27th Street and made their way to the boys' residence. An unmarked police car containing a Lorain police officer and an agent from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives drew up to the scene, according to surveillance video from the family security camera. The cops attempted to converse with the lads, but they already were inside the residence and the officers were unable to make contact. Mary Hildreth, the 16-year-old's mother, watched the incident from the front door and approached the cops to inquire about the issue. Notably, the kid showed no symptoms of escaping the cops, instead quietly entering the house when the car arrived. This particular element becomes important as the situation progresses. The cameras get a clear picture of the cops coming and of Miss Hildreth's first talk with one of them. The video makes it clear that Miss Hildreth asked the cops what was worrying them, and they told her to bring the boys outside so they could talk.
I'm still in the window as he's halfway through the yard coming in here. This car flies up out of nowhere. Don't say nothing. As I'm already down here, they're jumping out, getting ready to run around the house. I come to the door and say, what's going on? We want the boys for an house. I said, my son, what's the problem? He's a minor. We got to talk to him. I said, what is the problem? It's a traffic violation. I said, what do you mean? Can I have your name back? Then he's screaming and yelling. I said, you don't have to scream and yell at me. I'm an adult. That is my son. What did he do wrong?
After conversing with the officers on the scene, the supervisor returned to Miss Hildreth, exposing the dishonesty of the officers. Initially, they had claimed to stop the boys for a minor jaywalking violation, but now the supervisor implied that their true motive was suspicion of firearms due to the boys playing with their waistbands. The surveillance footage ended, and the verbal exchange between the supervisor and Miss Hildreth continued. It became evident that the officers realized their mistake and hastily fled the scene in their patrol vehicles without issuing any jaywalking tickets. This incident revealed that the officers simply wanted to harass the boys using the guise of neighborhood safety. Sadly, Miss Hildreth was unjustly charged with obstructing official business, a charge she vowed to fight in court. Shortly after, a deputy from the sheriff's office in Martin County, Florida, located the vehicle and initiated a traffic stop. The driver of the suspected drunk car pulled over. This incident occurred on July 11, 2023. Unfortunately, it drove up a parking lot curb and crashed into a boulder.
Registration? Nothing? Need an ambulance?
A distinct odor of intoxicants were coming from the vehicle's driver's license and registration when the deputy approached. While attempting to communicate with her, you have no angelic registrations. Her behavior was out of the ordinary, and she seemed to be affected by something.
Registration? Do you have any form of identification? Nothing? You speak? Go ahead and speak to me, okay? Do you have any type of identification on you? Do you have a purse? Do you have a registration? Anything over there that's yours? No? Nothing. All right. What is your first name? What's your first name? What? Dana. Is this car registered to you? Is this your car? What are you under the influence of? Alcohol or drugs? Something. You could have killed somebody a moment ago. Okay? It was horrible. You hadn't turned the car off for me. Well, I kind of don't trust you at this point, okay?
The driver was soon identified as a 41-year-old female named Dina. It was discovered that her driver's license was suspended on several occasions and the vehicle was not registered. The officer attempts to engage with her, but her response is absent. He queries whether alcohol or drugs are involved, yet her intense intoxication leaves her oblivious to the situation at hand.
You're kind of not helping me out any, so I can't do much for you. I don't know how to turn it off.
And where he's at?
Who knows? I'm not even going that around. You can't even get a name. We pulled over Joan Jefferson, then she jumped the curb and drove up there.
Well, I heard the sirens that I tried to kick out of that.
Prevented it. Was that you up there?
No, I was in town.
Prevented it from crashing whoever's on top of the bridge. Trying's not going to help. I still want to know who you are. Keep an eye on the road.
Throughout the journey to the jail, Dina's emotions surged uncontrollably. Her cries were marked by hysteria, punctuated by screams, and revealing a stark lack of self-control attributed to her profound intoxication. The pungent aroma of alcohol saturated the deputy's patrol car to an extent that compelled him to adjust the climate control to outside air, resorting to cracking a window in search of respite. Amidst the chaos, he sought cooperation for a broadcast request, urging her involvement. Amid her tumultuous state, she managed disjointed statements involving her son's military affiliation and disclaiming any harm caused. Upon arrival at the jail, she was ushered into the DUI room for processing. Dina's comments were filled with defiance despite the stressful nature of the encounter.
You can head out. Thank you.
Huh?
My savior's here.
I just told her, I said, is that your landscape now for her? She ruined it.
She doesn't hit this. She doesn't hit this. She doesn't hit this.
The landscape right there? Oh yeah, it's demolished. Well,
Is that over top of it?
Yeah. I told the traffic to move property. Yeah, the 240 said it was actually property. So, she's like, yeah, the landlord put all this in.
Show you one little bush, bro.
Yeah.
Never.
What's that?
I have literally never been
This drunk?
off.
Okay. Well, make sure you don't kill anybody. That's why we're stopped here today, okay?
Well, great.
All right, cool.
I have never been.
Arrested for DUI?
No.
Yes, you have.
Is that what you're trying to
Well,
do?
she, I stopped her right there, and she went to pull over,
Uh,
and then she turned back in the
oh,
traffic.
is that what you got? Is that what the siren hit again?
She turned
Okay.
back in the traffic, and she rode up over the curb and
Oh,
cut
shit,
somebody
okay.
off coming back in.
Oh, so you about to tell? Yeah, before she goes knock him in clean, she's got to end him.
Yeah, she didn't pull up on here. She was getting for the.
That's next level, buddy. That's crazy.
Pedophile.
You're a pedophile? Is that what you said?
What?
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 Y'all let pedophile.
Dean, are you stay in Martin County or PSM? Cool. We're here to make sure that you are not under the influence and that you are okay to drive. Okay?
No. No.
I get till 6 o'clock.
You're under the influence.
I am? Not today, but
I'm a piece of shit.
I didn't say that. Again, I'm just here to make sure you're not under the influence and you can drive. That's it.
No.
Alright? We're just making sure you're okay to drive.
Look,
That's it.
Look.
I got somebody to check you out, okay?
Here, look.
I'll be here in a second.
Here, look. Let me tell the truth.
Okay. Why?
Shit.
What?
I am.
Nah. Don't worry about that. Why do you think that?
Anybody.
Okay, I get it. I get it. It's hot out here. Give me 1 second, okay?
My kid.
I don't know what she's saying.
Subsequently, the deputy requested for a DUI traffic unit to arrive and carry out an investigation.
Sorry, man. They had us all on citrus. What's up? That's what we get for being 5 people short, man.
Just go talk to her. You'll figure it out.
What'd you stop her for?
9,000 things with PC.
9,000 things on PC? Okay, just all over the place?
Go talk to her. Be evident. Trust me.
Alcohol or drugs?
Can't even tell you. It's so hot out. I mean, I had to reach in the car, turn off the car. But I'm assuming alcohol if it's on.
Hello. How you doing today? Deputy Dave with the Sheriff's Office. The deputy stopped you back there, or the sergeant stopped you back there because you were swerving all over the road, he said. Guess a bunch of people were calling you in saying you were hitting the curb and... What's going on? You feeling okay?
No.
What's wrong? You have any medical issues? You gonna be able to tell me, can you talk? What's going on with you today? Been drinking this morning, huh?
No. Not gonna. No. Not gonna.
I'm just trying to talk to you and you're not talking to me.
No. No.
I can't hear you.
No.
No what?
No. No.
Do you have any medical issues?
What you're doing is.
I'm not blaming you for anything. Can you zip your shirt up for me and then step out of the car?
Oh yeah. I'm a whore.
Appreciate it. What's your first name?
Whore.
Well, I'm not going to call you that.
Yeah, it's that.
The officer pressed her for information about her activities, while simultaneously requesting that she change the subject for the time being. He disregarded any unpleasant remarks that were made about her and instead expressed a desire to leave. He made reference to a previous incident on the side of the road in which Dina had refused to participate in field sobriety tests. The officer approached her and asked if she could now speak with them. Dina refuted the officer's account, arguing that it was not accurate.
As to what happened.
Okay, tell me your version of what happened then.
You guys tried to vault for you guys wanted to make me. Yeah, you're right. I can't.
So when I came into contact with you, I was called there to do a DUI investigation because the person that pulled you over thought you might be intoxicated.
No, that's not what happened at all, actually.
So do you want to tell me what you think happened?
No, you were contacted to.
Dean, are you willing? I'm asking you now. Are you willing to complete some field sobriety tasks?
No.
I got I got a camera here, so you're covered.
You refuse to. This has nothing to do with why I was pulled over. Why was I pulled over, sir?
You were asking me why you were pulled over?
Yeah, sir.
The sergeant was behind your vehicle, and you were swerving all over the place, and you almost hit some officers that were on another crash scene. And then you pulled over, and then swerved back into traffic. And then when you pulled over, you pulled up onto some rocks and hit a rock.
So you have that documentation, yes?
Yes.
You have.
That's documented, yes.
You have that.
And then the sergeant made contact with you at your driver's window, made observations, smelled alcohol and that kind of thing, and then called me to come do an investigation. And when I got there, you didn't want to talk to me, and you were cursing at me.
And why did I not want to talk to you, sir?
I don't know.
What did you say to me?
I asked you general questions. I asked you what
why
your name
did I
was.
not want to say to you, sir?
All right. So
I'm asking you a question.
What I'm going to ask now is I'm going to ask you if you would like to.
I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
Which is a question that I'm legally allowed to ask you.
Okay.
What did you ask me?
When pressed further, she was asked to recount the events from her point of view. As the officer continued to try to talk her out of her rejection, the tension in the room increased. He made reference to the existence of a camera, which led one to believe that the examinations were being recorded. Dina deflected the attention and questioned the significance of the current predicament. The officer stated once again that the initial stop was made due to the suspect's erratic driving, which posed a threat to the officer's safety.
So yes or no? Are you willing to perform standardized field sobriety tests? Yes or no? Is that a no? Okay, so I'll note that as a no. I'm now offering you an approved test of your breath for the purpose of determining the alcohol content. Are you willing to take the test?
Okay, so
Are you willing to take the breath test?
are you willing to acknowledge the sobriety test from my?
I'm going to read you implied consent, okay?
I'm done.
Have a seat, Dina. I'm not playing with you. Sit down. If you refuse to take this test I've requested, your driving privilege will be suspended for a period of 1 year for a first refusal.
Guess what? It was already done.
Okay. So essentially, if this is a subsequent refusal, it's going to be suspended for 18 months.
Yeah. It's official.
Driving privilege has ever previously been suspended, which it has, or you were previously fined.
And why? Why?
Let me finish, okay?
No.
Any criminal proceeding. Do you understand what I just read?
Why?
You're going to get an additional misdemeanor charge if you don't.
Answer. What did you say?
That's the legislative law. That's the Texas law.
for
That's
you.
It has nothing to do with me.
Good.
I'm a fact reporter. I'm trying to read you your rights.
Good.
Okay? So are you willing to take the breath test?
Good.
So yes or
Why don't
no?
you just answer what I just asked you?
You're asking me why you have to do this?
No. I'm asking you why the fuck are you being held liable for this shit?
Because you were the one driving the car intoxicated.
Motherfucker. That I was You don't get it? Wait, you don't get it? You guys fucking... No.
See.
Do you understand how vile and bullshit this entire thing is? Do you get it?
No.
Really? You don't get it?
So do you want to provide a breath sample? With your rights of mind, I read you implied consent. You want to provide a breath sample?
My mother?
Mm-hmm.
My mother?
Yep.
My mother?
Mm-hmm.
You hear me?
I'm listening to what you're saying. Your
You
mother.
listen?
Uh-huh.
Shit. We're feeling courts of
Okay. I don't care.
Good, guess what?
Yeah, I don't care
She
if your
was
mom
in
wants
the
to.
court for fucking guess what?
That's good for her.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. She really got.
That's not what I'm here for, though.
Yeah, no, you're not.
No.
Yes, no, of course
No.
not.
Story time is over now.
Yeah, sorry.
So what I need to know is if you're willing to take the breath test.
He made a reference to the exchange between the sergeant and the officer who detected the odor of alcohol. Dina rebutted his statement by questioning her lack of communication and daring her to reuse curse words. The officer questioned his strategy and rehashed the request that Dina get out of the car. After he asked for clarity, she was forced to think back to the time it happened. As he repeated the inquiry concerning field sobriety testing, looking for a definitive yes or no response, his level of frustration increased. The officer's voice remained calm as he said, "Are you willing to provide a breath sample while keeping your rights in mind?" He brought her attention to the law about implied consent. Dina's comments continued to be jumbled, and she occasionally brought up her mother as if to object. The officer reassured her that he was listening despite the fact that she was in an emotional state. In spite of her protestations, he admitted that he could see things from her point of view. He concentrated on the issue at hand and solicited her participation in order to conduct a breath test. He made a veiled reference to her attempt to distract him by announcing that story time has ended. Dina's resistance remained, and a resounding no echoed her reluctance. The officer took note of the refusal and explained her stance on the concept of implied consent. He questioned her once more, this time inquiring as to whether or not she was continuing to refuse the test. He communicated the possibility of involving other people if that turned out to be required, and emphasized the potential unpleasantness that doing so may cause. Dina found herself facing a series of misdemeanor charges, each compounding her legal predicament. These charges encompassed driving under the influence for the second time, accompanied by the refusal to submit to testing, an act that further escalated her situation. The list of offenses extended to include her failure to register her motor vehicle, an oversight that contributed to her legal troubles. A significant factor exacerbating her circumstances was the fact that she was driving with a suspended license, marking this as a second offense. However, the gravity of her situation was underscored by the additional layer of complexity. Dina was already under the weight of a $200,000 bond related to theft and fraud charges. This ongoing legal entanglement loomed large as she faced these new charges. As the legal proceedings unfolded, her financial obligations escalated, and the cash or surety bond for this incident being set at an imposing sum of $150,000. This confluence of charges and bonds painted a challenging road ahead for Dina as she navigated her legal battles.